fellow exiles. I am Gigi Marana and welcome to the Exiled Lands. So today I'm not where I usually am right now in my playthrough series. I'm actually in the game I'm playing with my husband on another server. And I'm coming from this base today because I want to talk to you about horses and mounts in Conan Exiles. And I have a pretty nice barn I want to show off. But seriously, in this video I'm going to show you how to find them, how to get them, all the steps for your first mount. So come on and let's go inside and check out the barn. So it's always raining in the Highlands, and I have a very strict no muddy boots policy when you come into the office. So just throwing that out there. The office isn't very fancy. I don't spend a lot of time in here. I am usually out with the horses. This leads down into the saddle making area. We've got our saddle maker hard at work. From here I'm going to just pop back through the office and take you up to the second floor of the stables, and this is for the stable hands and the cowboys. They have their own little area up here, bunks, tables, plenty of areas to hang out when they're not working. My favorite area is by far the actual horse area of the barn. I currently have 14 horses, and I built the stable to hold a total of 24, so I still have a little bit of growing room. I really loved when Funcom added horses to the game because there's so many different ways that horses can make life easier in the exiled land. First off is mounts. You can ride them across the map, and it is so much faster than having to run the entire length of the map. And I know this because I have done that many times before mounts were introduced, and it has certainly made travel a lot easier. And also escaping bad situations. If you get too many things pulled and things are going bad pretty quickly, it's easy to jump on the horse and get clean away a lot easier than on foot and being crippled and stunned. You are allowed to have one mount and one follower, so you can take your thrall with you when you go somewhere on your horse, so that doesn't take up that slot. If the horse is not saddled, it counts as a follower, but when you have a saddle on the horse, he's a mount, and you have a follower that can go along with you. And if you so choose, you can actually fight from horseback. Now, I've never done this personally. I'm not big on hand-to-hand combat. I tend to freak out and just start pressing buttons and make life really bad for myself. So I stick with bows, but I have shot the bow from the horseback before, and that helped with being able to get away if it ended up being a boss. Now, you can be knocked from your horse if you get hit hard enough, or if you fall off a cliff, that can bounce you out of the saddle as well. So you do need to be careful and mindful of that. Another one, and probably one of the biggest benefits to having a horse, especially as early as possible in the game, is for the pack animal benefits. When you go out farming, or when you're out at different camps and settlements around the map, you can put loot and extra things in the saddle. The saddle has 10 slots. I usually keep the first slot full of food for the horse. We'll talk about food in a little bit. There are plenty of slots to be able to help with carrying supplies back to your base. Now, you unlock the ability to craft a horse at 15. You need to unlock the stable building, which is crafted on the carpenter's bench, and then you have to find your foal. There are 3 areas on the exiled land map where I have personally seen foals. The first one you can find in quadrant K6. That's going into the jungle from the starting area. The next is in B10. This is near the Mounds of the Dead, and that can be a pretty dicey area until you get leveled up a little bit, so just be careful. In G9, next to the aqueduct in the north, is where I always go to get my foals. This is a look at the stable building. Again, you craft this on the carpenter's bench, and then it works like any other crafting table. And the wheel of pain, once you get the horse and the plant material to get it started, then it crafts from there. Now, I always use Ashura's Glory in my stables when I'm preparing the horse. It has a little bit faster crafting time when you use that, so that typically is what I will pick up to put in the stable. So we'll jump on Gallant real quick and ride out to the area by the aqueduct where the foals are here in the north. We typically build in this area, and that's why I always will get my foals from under the aqueduct. Once you get to where they are, there aren't really any mobs that will bother you getting to them. You just have to be a little careful when you come into the area. And at the end of this video, I'm going to include a quick glimpse of how I'm able to run in when I'm at a lower level and grab a foal and get back out real quick. So that will be on the game that I'm doing in the current playthrough. Once you find the foal, as with any other baby animal, you just need to get close enough to it and press E to pick it up. Now with the foals, when you pick it up, it will typically say either swift foal, sturdy foal, or regular foal. As of now, there is no real benefit of having one over the other in the game. I don't know if that's something they're going to add at some point later on, but now, regardless of what kind of foal it is, it has no bearing on the end result horse. I mentioned earlier about using Ashura's Glory in the crafting process because it has a little bit of a speed bump as far as the crafting time that it takes. And just as with thralls, what food you have on the horse as they go through the leveling process can have some bearing on the perks that they earn. And here is a list of preferred foods showing the associated perks for that food. There are 4 variations of horses that you will get from the crafting process. The first is the bay brown horse, and then you have a gray dapple, and then of course down here on the end is a brown and white pinto, and if I can, not that one, a buckskin tan is the 4th variation that comes from the crafting process. Now you can have a black or white horse, but this is an additional crafting step. You need tainted fodder, which you get from the alchemy bench, and this must be done before you place the horse in the world. So while the horse is still in your inventory, you add the tainted fodder to your inventory, and then in your crafting pull down, there is the recipe for the black or white horse, which you then choose, and it crafts the horse and puts it in your inventory as the black or white color that you've chosen, and then you can place the horse in the world. The feat for saddle making is unlocked at level 20, and as a novice saddle maker, there are 3 choices of saddles that you can start with. As you level, your ability to create better saddles gets unlocked along the way. Now, different saddles will help enhance different attributes, just as armor does for players and thralls. So for example, a warhorse saddle is going to provide better defense, while the scout saddle benefits maneuverability, and cavalry saddles favor speed. As for leveling the mount, simply riding the mount around the map is going to provide XP, and they level fairly quickly in the beginning stages. Also, having the horse near you in combat, they will earn XP as you do. And I typically don't have a problem doing this when I'm out farming or doing solo mobs in small camps. If I'm going to go into any larger area, I will park the mount outside that area and in a safe spot, so just in case things go badly, I aggro too many things, the horse won't take damage. There is nothing worse than being in the middle of, say, New Asgarth and pulling the whole entire camp and having to watch and hear your horse be beaten to death by angry Nordenheimers. So I find it's easier to just let them stay in a safe place when I go into larger areas, because you never know when something's going to go bad. I'm going to jump on Huck now, and we'll ride up to the top of the hill, and I'll show you a couple of mount parking tips that I have learned the hard way in the game. So there's two ways to disengage from your mount. Just as with thralls, you can go in and have them unfollow. The issue that I've run into with this particular way of doing it is if you are gone for very long into an area or get too far away from the horse and it goes past the timer for them to stay there unattended, if you will, they will go back to the base or the last place that you physically set them to guard. So if you're going into a dungeon or you're going into a large area where you may be a while, or the distance between you and where you have the horse gets too great, at that point you'll want to go in and set him to stand and guard. The only issue with that is when you get back to base, you want to make sure that you go through that process and set him to guard again, or you may log in the next day and find your mount missing. If it happens that you misplace your mount, you can go into the map. Under the followers tab is a list of all of the followers that you have, and you just simply want to go over to the far right and click the little eye-shaped icon to show the follower on the map. At that point, you can go back to the map and search the areas where you may have been, that you may have left your mount, and of course then you've got to run and get them, but at least you know where they are. And this is going to wrap up the steps on how to find and get your first mount. If anybody knows of any other areas on the map where there are foals, please let me know down in the comments. I'm sure there's probably other places than the 3 places that I've seen them, and I always want to learn new things about the game. So if you know of any other areas where foals hang out, please drop them down in the comments and let me know. I am going to, in just a minute, show a quick clip of how I run into the north at a lower level to grab a foal from the aqueduct and get back out without causing any problems. So hang on to check that out. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you got some information and enjoyed it, I'd appreciate it if you'd give the video a like and hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you join me as I do a complete playthrough of the game from 0 to 60 and all the fascinating adventures I can get into. So let's go over to Marana the Younger and see how to get a foal at a lower level. So this is the area on the map where you go from the desert area through the little cave and come out in the Highlands and the northern area. So we're gonna head that way. Now it's pretty safe for this first little bit. There is a boar at the end of this little passage that I'll need to take out, so I'm just gonna shoot an arrow down there to get his attention and bring him this way, and my thrall and I will take him out of play. Alright, so now you're going to make your way straight towards the little column there in the middle. I go ahead as I'm passing through here and grab some of the Ashura's Glory. That's what I mentioned to you, that I like to put in the pen while the horse is crafting. Now there are some wolves that patrol the area, and they may or may not, more often than not, they will aggro, so you want to be on the lookout for the wolves in this area. There's also some over that way. Typically, if you hug this wall, you're going to be safe from pulling the pack closest to the door. Now here's a little pup running by. Usually don't see the cubs down here, but I think with the new patch, there are some baby animals popping up in new places. I'm very surprised that we haven't aggroed any of the wolves at this point. Must have gotten really lucky and they're patrolling the other way, because usually at this point I do have to fight off one of the wolves. Now, there's also a bear that's up the left side there, but usually he's patrolling far enough away that you can get safely through this part. If you make it to the lake, you're good to go. So at this point, I'm going to stop and check my health, make sure I am at full health and my stamina is all the way up. Also want to make sure that my follower is topped off on all of his health needs as well. Now off to the left there are 3 Nordenheimers who are going to see us fairly quickly, as well as when I get over this rock, off to the right there is a regular wolf and a mini boss one skull wolf. So the idea is to find the spot right between these 2 packs that I can slip through with the least amount of aggro. So I've got my follower with me, and I'm going to edge up to the water and take off. And of course this is the time that I don't aggro anything as I run through there. That doesn't happen every time. Most of the time by now they're already attacking my follower. And here they come on the way back. So you get to the water. Once you're having to swim, you're going to be clear of them. They have picked up on my follower, and Guy is back there taking them on, but I'm going to call him back because he will stay and fight to somebody's death, and I don't want it to be him. So I have called him back, and we'll meet up at the end of the lake. I heard him. He's somewhere. There he is. He's behind me. All right. Now, he did pretty well, just a little bit of health loss on him, and we are going to get out of Dodge to make it back to the base, put our little horse in the stable, and there's already some plant fiber in there, so we will get him started. And I did have one in earlier that I saved to make into a black horse while we were doing this, so you could see that in action too. I mentioned you get the tainted fodder from the alchemy bench. It takes gruel, yellow lotus, and aloe leaves. Have everything in your inventory. And I'm just going to run back here by the little mini stables I have on this map. Got the horse, have our fodder. So on the crafting menu, we'll pull down. I'm going to make this a black horse. So you find it has it broken out by what horse you're starting with. So you find the horse that you have and hit craft. And your black horse is in the making. And you do want to make sure that you do this in your inventory. Once you place the horse, you can't change colors, so it needs to be all done while everything is in your inventory. Our horse is done. Pull him down on the bar, and we will set him out. And of course it's dark, so you can't really appreciate how black the black horse is, but that's how you get a black horse. Or if you want a white, it's the same thing. You just find the white horse in the crafting pull down. Gonna give him a little bit of food and christen him Slash and get him all set up in the stable with the other horses. So this is wrapping up the where to find them and how to get them portion of the video. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got some useful information out of it. Hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as I journey through the exiled lands. I'm doing a complete playthrough from 0 to 60, and I hope you'll come on the journey with me. Until next time, take care.